You know what breaks my heart? It's when I meet incredibly talented, brilliant people who have everything it takes to create extraordinary lives, but they're stuck in patterns that guarantee their failure. After decades of interviewing thousands of successful people and witnessing countless transformations, I've discovered something profound. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you refuse to become. Today, I want to share with you the 5 types of people who will never, ever achieve the success they dream of, and more importantly, I want you to look deep within yourself and ask the hard question. Am I one of them? Because here's the truth that might sting a little but will set you free. Every single person I'm about to describe has the power to change, but most won't, because they're too comfortable living in the prison of their own limitations. So buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might make you uncomfortable, but it will also give you the roadmap to everything you've ever wanted. The first type of person who will never succeed is the excuse artist. Oh honey, you know exactly who I'm talking about. These are the people who have turned excuse-making into a fine art form. They have a reason for everything. Why they can't start that business, why they can't go back to school, why they can't lose weight, why they can't find love, why they can't move to a new city. I don't have enough money, they say, but they spend $300 a month on coffee and takeout. I don't have time, they claim, while binge-watching Netflix for 4 hours every night. I'm too old, they whisper, as if age has ever stopped anyone with real determination. Listen to me carefully. Every excuse you make is a nail in the coffin of your dreams. I've interviewed billionaires who started with nothing, Olympic athletes who overcame devastating injuries, and leaders who rose from the most challenging circumstances you can imagine. You know what they all had in common? They ran out of excuses before they ran out of dreams. The excuse artist lives in a fantasy world where circumstances control destiny. But successful people know that destiny is created by decisions, not conditions. When you make an excuse, you're essentially saying, I choose my comfort zone over my growth zone. And comfort zones are where dreams go to die. The most dangerous part about being an excuse artist is that excuses feel so reasonable, so justified, so logical. But here's what I've learned after all these years. There's always a way if you're committed to the way. Every excuse you accept becomes a limit you live by, and every limit you live by becomes the ceiling of your potential. Stop being an artist of excuses and start being an architect of your life. The second type is the comparison addict, and social media has made this epidemic worse than ever before. These people are so busy watching everyone else's highlight reel that they never create their own. They scroll through Instagram feeling inadequate because someone else's vacation looks better, their relationship looks happier, their success looks easier. They're constantly measuring their behind the scenes against everyone else's edited, filtered, perfectly curated public image. But here's the devastating truth. When you're focused on everyone else's race, you stop running your own. I remember interviewing a young entrepreneur who was so obsessed with comparing herself to other successful women in her field that she spent more time analyzing their strategies than developing her own. She knew everything about their journeys, but nothing about her own unique path. The comparison addict suffers from what I call destination disease. They think success is a place where everyone else has arrived, but they haven't been invited. But success isn't a destination, it's a journey, and every person's journey is different. When you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you rob yourself of the joy of your own story. You also miss the most important truth. That person you're comparing yourself to is once exactly where you are now, feeling just as uncertain, just as scared, just as unqualified. The energy you spend comparing could be invested in creating, building, growing, learning. Comparison doesn't inspire improvement, it paralyzes progress. Your only competition should be who you were yesterday, and your only goal should be becoming who you're meant to be tomorrow. The third type breaks my heart the most, the dream postponer. These are the people who always say, someday. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll write that book. Someday I'll travel the world. Someday I'll tell him I love him. Someday I'll quit this job I hate. Someday, someday, someday. But let me tell you something about someday. It's not a day of the week. It doesn't exist on any calendar, and it never, ever arrives. The dream postponer lives in this imaginary future where conditions will be perfect, where they'll have more money, more time, more confidence, more knowledge, more support. They're waiting for permission from a universe that's already given them everything they need right now. I've learned that the perfect time never comes because perfect doesn't exist. There will always be reasons to wait. The kids are too young, then they're too busy with school, then they're in college, then they're starting their own families. The economy is bad, then it's good but uncertain, then it's changing too fast. You're too inexperienced, then you're overqualified, then you're too set in your ways. The dream postponer doesn't realize that every day they wait, someone else is starting. Every month they postpone, someone else is building. Every year they delay, someone else is achieving the very dream they keep pushing into that mythical someday. The most successful people I know weren't ready when they started. They just started and got ready along the way. Dreams have expiration dates, not because they stop being possible, but because dreamers stop believing they're possible. Stop waiting for perfect and start working with possible. The fourth type is the comfort zone prisoner, and they've built such a beautiful jail cell that they've forgotten it's still a prison. These people have convinced themselves that being comfortable is the same as being successful. They have a steady job they don't love, a routine that doesn't inspire them, relationships that don't challenge them, and dreams that don't scare them. They mistake security for success and stability for satisfaction. The comfort zone prisoner says things like, "At least I have a job," instead of "I deserve a career I'm passionate about." They say, "This relationship is fine," instead of demanding extraordinary love. They say, "I'm grateful for what I have," as an excuse to stop reaching for what they want. Now don't get me wrong, gratitude is essential, but complacency is deadly. You can be grateful for where you are while still growing toward where you want to be. The comfort zone prisoner has been seduced by the illusion of safety, but here's what they don't realize. The biggest risk in life is not taking any risks at all. While they're playing it safe, the world is changing around them, opportunities are passing by them, and life is happening without them. They think they're protecting themselves from failure, but they're actually guaranteeing a different kind of failure, the failure of never knowing what they could have become. Growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone, not in the center of it. Every successful person I know has a collection of moments when they said yes before they felt ready, when they jumped before they could see the net, when they chose growth over comfort. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. The fifth and final type is the most tragic of all, the self-doubt saboteur. This person is their own worst enemy, their own biggest critic, their own greatest obstacle. They have more conversations with their inner critic than with their inner champion. They can list 100 reasons why they're not qualified, not ready, not good enough, not smart enough, not connected enough, not lucky enough. The self-doubt saboteur has turned self-criticism into a full-time job. They second-guess every decision, minimize every achievement, and amplify every setback. When someone compliments them, they deflect it. When opportunity knocks, they assume it's at the wrong door. When success comes their way, they convince themselves it's temporary or undeserved. They live in a constant state of, "Who am I to think I could do that?" But let me ask you this, who are you not to think you could do that? The self-doubt saboteur doesn't realize that the voice in their head telling them they're not good enough is not their voice. It's the voice of every person who ever doubted them, every critic who ever dismissed them, every fear that ever held them back. But that voice is not the truth about who they are. It's just noise from who they used to be. Here's what I know for sure. You wouldn't have the dream if you didn't have the ability to achieve it. The universe doesn't make mistakes when it plants desires in your heart. Your dreams are not accidents, they're assignments. The self-doubt saboteur needs to understand that confidence isn't about feeling ready. It's about being willing to start before you feel ready. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and choosing to act anyway. Now, here's the beautiful truth that can change everything. None of these types are permanent identities. They're just patterns, and patterns can be broken. You are not sentenced to live as any of these people forever. The moment you recognize these traits in yourself is the moment you can begin to change them. If you're an excuse artist, start taking responsibility for your choices instead of blaming your circumstances. If you're a comparison addict, focus on your own journey and celebrate your unique path. If you're a dream postponer, pick one dream and take one small step toward it today, not someday, today. If you're a comfort zone prisoner, do one thing this week that scares you a little bit. If you're a self-doubt saboteur, start speaking to yourself with the same kindness you would show your best friend. The power to transform your life doesn't live in your circumstances, your background, your age, your education, or your connections. It lives in your choices, and you get to make new choices every single day. Success isn't reserved for a special group of people who have something you don't have. Success belongs to anyone who's willing to stop being the person who can't succeed and start being the person who will. The question isn't whether you have what it takes to succeed. You do. The question is whether you're willing to stop being your own obstacle and start being your own advocate, your own champion, your own greatest believer. Because the moment you do that, everything changes, and the success you've been dreaming about becomes not just possible, but inevitable. You have everything you need right now to begin becoming the person you're meant to be. So what are you waiting for?